So the next one is going to be a little more practical. It's called pillar of expenses. So the first one is one of my favorite topics, and when I talk about finance and in general a lot, I want to talk about this famous concept that's called never skip dessert. So the concept comes from like some bodybuilder that was trying to like lose weight, and they asked him about his diet, and he was telling how every day without skipping a beat, he always like makes sure that he eats one piece of dessert. And the point was that like he knows when he like negotiates with himself, when he makes his diet, when he makes his plans, he knows that he needs to give himself like a proper and workable solution, and not force himself to do something that he should do. Instead, make him do something he wants to do. And making a budget is a negotiation with yourself. So we're talking when you want to make a budget, when you want to make your budget successful, you want to spend money in a certain way. You can't do it on the lines of how it should be. You need to do it on the lines of how you want it to be. So when you look at the budget, when you look at something you put in front of yourself, I want you to be happy about it. Like if it has no joy in it, and if it provides like no freedom for anything, you're not gonna follow it. You're gonna be like a terrible boss from both sides. Like I have like an analogy here. This is me trying to sell you the whole analogy. So if this does not only solve the money issues, this solves everything. So this is very well. I can't do that, but what I can do is help you with this. When I ran into this issue, it was when I was figuring out why my scheduling is not working. Right. I try to schedule my time. I try to figure out like why, no matter how I make my plan, I need to study on this day, and do this. And I had a lot to do for like my faculty or whatever. I would never like follow the schedule. Sometimes it would work for a day or two. Sometimes I'm really hyped, and then I wake up and then I do something, and then yeah, I just fail. What you need to do is to present yourself with this whole mindset of the negotiation, right? Just in this case, you're both the boss and the employee. So I want you to be a good boss in a sense that you know clearly what you want to accomplish, you know clearly what the goals are, what the obligations are, everything. But on the other hand, I want you to treat your employee fairly, right? If you tell yourself that tomorrow you need to study for like 12 hours, I don't think that if someone told me to do like work for 12 hours and without a reward or anything, I don't think I would listen to them. So the idea is that here, when you make a schedule and when you look at it, if you're not happy about it, you're not going to follow it. So you're going to be stuck between like a terrible boss that berates you and wants you to do too much work for too little pay, essentially, or not a pay at all. And then on the other hand, you're going to be disappointed as a boss because you have a procrastinator who doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do. So the idea is you make a schedule you're happy with. Plan everything you want to do in it. When you look at it, you're happy about it. This applies back to the budget that we are making. When you're making a budget, make sure that you never skip dessert. Make sure that no matter what you do, if that's something that you enjoy, if it's something that you need and want, it's necessary. You're not going to follow it through if it's not something that you can agree to. So there's like a good sentence that I put there. Treat yourself like you would someone you care about. If you find this difficult, when you negotiate with yourself, imagine someone you actually care about, because usually people don't give themselves this amount of respect. So this is like a budget. I'm not gonna go into budget making right now. It's very specific for different people. But imagine like this is an example, like half of your budget goes on obligations. You pay for different bills and stuff, and then you're left with half the money. You can split that half and half, and one half is like fun money. The other half we do smart investing stuff with, and that's like something that you can probably agree to. Now your scales are gonna look different, but that's the idea. Basically, don't put yourself on the unrealistic schedule. You're never gonna accomplish it. If you want to be consistent going to the gym, don't expect yourself that you're gonna go like 5 times a week every week. That's just not realistic. So that's the first topic. The second topic is called lifestyle inflation. Probably heard about this. This is usually the ache of people who tend to make like a good amount of money or started making money. So usually, this is like a famous example I like to cite. You don't have to read all of it, but people who stumble upon a lot of money that come from, for example, different sport leagues, tend to end up broke. What actually happens is you can imagine an NBA player. You can imagine a kid who trained basketball for his whole life. So he started training when he was very little. When he was like in elementary school, he went to some competitions. He was fine. When he was in high school, he already started getting picked at and some more important teams enough so he gets the scholarship for a faculty. He gets like into a dorm room with like a couple of his like other basketball friends, this and that, and he plays in like in college for a year or two, and then NBA sees him and be like, okay, we're gonna give you like a $20 million deal right now. And then he goes from living in a dorm room with like 4 other guys in like 20 square meters to having like 20 million in a moment. And of course what he does is he buys his mom a car. He like starts spending the money like crazy, and he does not only waste that money, he gets into some really bad debt that usually results into him bankrupting himself. This tends to happen with a lot of professions where you don't really care and you don't really spend enough time understanding the other pillars. And getting really good at one pillar tends to like give you some sort of a complex. You can imagine that most NBA players, by statistics, only last for 1 season or maybe 2 seasons. And of course that once you get picked, you're not going to think that you're going to last for 1 season. Of course you're going to think you're the best basketball player ever. If you didn't think that, you wouldn't have trained for 20 years probably. So in this case, it's very potent and very, very problematic. On a smaller scale, that's like an extreme example. On a small scale, what tends to happen with people is as they slowly get to earn more money, there's like a gap of what's left with their money, and they tend to slowly fill that gap with other expenses and slowly inflate their life until it fits again. And then you have essentially accomplished nothing. You're just living like in a bigger box with a bigger car, but you're still enslaved to the same thing. And the helpful tip that I saw is when you start getting like raises in your earnings, maybe you just finished like college and you got your first job, or maybe you like changed jobs and you got like a significant bump. Like try to think of like how you were spending money 3 years ago or before that, and try to like tone it down, not get too crazy. Especially again, like if you come from a place where you didn't make any money and you start making money, try to do it like slowly and adjust to it. And especially like when you're not an NBA player and have millions, it's even more important when you're not making that much money, right? We're gonna count in the opportunity cost. This is like if you spend money now, if you spend money on the things that don't really mean anything to you, you could have spent that money on something that actually meant something for you. And later on, you're gonna lose out on that opportunity. This is the concept that I'm describing to my favorite movie here. So that's pretty much it. That's the second pillar, the second part of the pillar. And just as I was talking, it's a segue from the previous one, the importance of understanding opportunity cost. So when you don't really pay close attention to how you're spending your money, what tends to happen is you do not only miss out on potential investments. And when I say potential investments, I don't mean like some crazy stuff. I mean like the moments where you felt like you could have bought a new jacket or something and you didn't have the money for, but it was a really good jacket. That's like a potential investment you missed because you didn't have the money at the moment. So not having the money available and not being able to prioritize it means that you're not going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that present to you. Maybe some really good event is happening, maybe something you really want to do is happening, but because you weren't diligent, because you weren't careful with how you were spending your money, you are now going to miss out on it. And then it has like some different consequences. You might need to borrow money from people. You might need to get into some really bad debt. You might need to borrow from yourself, which is essentially just like paying in unpreferable ways, right? Maybe take the jobs you don't like. Maybe not be able to recover from like some emergencies, because unfortunately life happens and sometimes you cannot be ready for everything that happens to you. And in that case, if you are completely unprepared, that sort of emergency, when you don't have savings, when you don't have a proper plan, can throw you off the guard completely. And this applies again. I want you to be very careful about these long-term opportunities and these long-term optionalities, as we talked in the beginning, so that you don't sacrifice them for short-term satisfaction.